Hi guys, this is Sam from Little Seed Handmade. I wanted to share with you today my very first completed journal that I've made. I say completed, I've not written in it yet, but it's completed in the sense that it has been built. I've spent many hours debating on papers and processes, and this is the final outcome. I've just double tied a ribbon bow on there. Okay, so the beginnings of my journal, I actually created a little notebook on the front. So I love this bird image. And then inside I've just layered it with some vintage papers, and then these are avocado dyed papers that I've just sewn directly down the center and created a little book. This has been finished off with a vintage button. So on the inside of my journal, I've created a little flip out here, so I've got space for journaling. Here's a pocket, added some vintage lace, and then I've created a tag. This has all been stitched around the edge on my sewing machine and distressed, so that just pops into there. I love vintage children's book images, and I found this little one. I love rabbits, and because my journal was sort of garden themed, I just went through and picked out the word garden and just highlighted that with a pencil. Just a little bit of detail. Here's some little trim that I've ruched and sewn across the bottom there. This is some more journaling space, so I've got a little fussy cut rose there, and then some journaling to do on the back there. So I've just popped these in with paper clips so I could move them around if I wanted to. So this is a vintage hanky, which I've just trimmed down and taken the little monogram because I absolutely love it. I've created a little pocket, and then this is just a little collage journaling tag that I've created on some watercolor cardstock, which I've actually coffee dyed. Some vintage script collage on there, some of that lovely coloured paper that I love, and a little like a French speech card, so I can journal on the back there, and that just slips in. So I've done some decorative punches there, so I think that was a Martha Stewart one. This again is another pocket. I've just got a journaling card there, and then this is just an original French invoice from my box of originals. I just love that. It's only half of it, but it's still amazing to me. So that just pops back into there. And then the next page is just this was actually a charity book find. It was just about gardening, so I just tea dyed or coffee dyed the papers. I've just punched down the sides for a little decoration. Inside here is, this is actually made from some vintage wallpaper. I've just created a little envelope which I could put, you know, pictures in there or anything to keep it safe, or some pressed flowers or anything like that. And then I've just got a little vintage ticket there. I just love that colour, and that just clips to the top. She says, as it won't go in. There we go. So on the opposite side I've got another journaling card that I made that I've been collaging, a little digital download there. I've done some embossing folders, some textured cardstock there. Again, lots of room for journaling. On this side, this is like one of my favourite pages. It's some vintage fabric out of my collection, which I've just basically sewn across there, flipped it up, sewn all the way across around here to make a little fabric pocket. So in here, there's another little journaling card. I love this image here, and I've done a little bit of stamping there. I can do some journaling, and I've just put some seam binding across there and run that through my sewing machine. So that pops into there, and I've actually made this a double pocket and not sewn on the back, so I can actually slip in some, you know, extra papers or anything I want to keep safe. So on to the next page, more journaling space there. I just love these colours. This is an original vintage envelope from France. It was actually kind of in a bad way, in the sense that where it had been opened, it was very torn. So I inserted some more card inside there just to make it a little bit more sturdy, because it's quite a thin envelope. And then I've actually done some little faux sellotape to look vintage with some alcohol inks, and this actually just really supports it a bit more and just gives it a little bit more of a interest. A little collage in here with some lace and some buttons. So yeah, inside the pocket was some vintage French music, again an original piece of ephemera there. Lots of space that I can journal on. And here's a little girl. This is actually something that I scanned in from one of the original photographs I've got. Just think she's absolutely gorgeous. I love her shoes in this and everything that she's wearing. So this, I've just collaged a little bit of French book paper on it, sewn all the way around the edge, and again I can do some journaling there, and I've just stamped it with a little shoe because, like I said, she's got really cute shoes on. So this is just a little corner pocket. Just got a little bit of detail there with some lace. And then I made a tip-in with a piece of fabric, which I glued down the side, across this front, and then it folds out. So this, again, is another embossing folder. And then on the back of that, I've actually stuck a vintage envelope on it. And again, there's some more vintage French music sheet paper in there. Some more of that vintage looking sellotape that I've alcohol inked. Here's a original invoice, French invoice, which I love. I just folded that and put it over in the corner. Lots of space again. There's another journaling card that I've made. I've had more tape on the sides, done a little bit of stamping. That's a really nice image. So this is some more vintage French documents that are obviously typewritten, and that's the centerpiece of my journal. I've used another vintage ticket and folded it over to create a little tab, and some cheesecloth that I've tea dyed. So again, some more sellotape, another little stamp that I thought was cute, and this has created another tip-in as well. So it's just another sort of journaling card that I've created, done a bit of stamping and inking, and got more space there. So that's the other half of the garden book papers that I'd coffee dyed and put in there. So it talks about different roses and things, so quite cool. Again, more collaging of little embellishments and things. This is a glassine envelope that I've coffee dyed, and I've created a little notebook with any scrap bits of paper that I had left over from trimming all the pages down. So that's just a little notebook that I made, and that just pops into there. And then on the other side of that, just because I wanted to make it a little bit more sturdy, I've actually put some Edith Holden book pages on it, and I just loved all the blue flowers on this page, and so I put that on the back of there, and that's just a little fold out as well. with some vintage script document glued to it. Again, more journaling space there. I love all these unique splodges and where it's dried. So on this side is another one of the tags which I originally made, similar to the front cover of my journal. So this is actually, I'm going to use it as a bookmark, I think, because I can just pop it in wherever, or if I wanted to, I could put a hole in the top and add some ribbon on there. So that just clips onto there. I've done a little bit more stamping, some more papers. I've got a little postcard here which I've put some lace underneath. I just love it when the lace overhangs outside. It just gives it a little bit more interest. Again, this is another flip out, so there's loads of space there that I can add pictures. More script, original papers, and then a little bit of stamping, and then another book paper. I think this was actually from the book Olga Poga, which is a really cool little children's book. So yeah, that is my personal journal, which I've based my shop listings on, which will be in my Etsy shop shortly. Yeah, so thank you for watching. Bye.